Hello, everybody. My guest today is Mickey Patton. He's the president and CEO of ClearC2, the leading CRM for manufacturing companies. He joined ClearC2 in 1998 and has an extensive knowledge of how manufacturers can use technology to streamline and maximize their customer relationships throughout the most complex sales cycles and ecosystems. Mickey, are you ready to take us to the top?
Sure.
All right, 1998. That puts you in the range of you were around right when CRMs were coming into style, huh?
Yeah, we started out with contact management. It wasn't called CRM at the time. It was just basically an electronic rolodex, if you will.
That's very good.
Yep, the industry started adding things like customer service and sales support and pipelining and marketing. So
now, my audience is very familiar with the CRM space. Anything you want to add in terms of what you do? Is there really a CRM specifically for manufacturing?
Well, we are actually horizontal. We focus on manufacturing because of our long business partner relationship with IBM. And so they have a lot of manufacturers in their customer install base. So we were the go-to CRM from IBM from about 1998 through 2008, so forth. And so we have a lot of install base in manufacturing. So that's kind of our forte, but we certainly are across industries like telecommunications, healthcare as well. So.
And give me a general sense of what, a company when they sign up with you on average, what are they paying? Are we talking $100 a month, 1,000, 10,000, $1 million?
No, it varies. It's software as a service, and it can be as low as $37 a month if you use the basics, up to $67, $77, depending on the modules and depending on kind of what you use. But then, different from the other SaaS vendors, we don't charge extra for things like storage, more users, and things like that. That is the rate that you're going to get.
Okay. So is it fair to say that maybe $60 a month is an average of what a company might pay you?
Yep,
okay.
Exactly.
Very good. So, I want to understand the timeline here. It said you joined the company, which means you weren't one of the founders. When was the company actually created, and how did you join?
Actually, yeah, that's a long story, but I'll make it short. The company was a IBM reseller, and when I joined the company, that's when we launched the software division. So the company had already had install base of customers, and wanted to focus more on software. So I joined the company, and I was one of the partners at that time, but since then, everybody else is gone. I bought everybody else, and we're an employee-owned company. No investors, no nothing. We marched our own drum.
I love that. And what's the team size today? How many people?
We have around 50 employees. It varies depending on the season and the number of customers we have. Some of them are contracts, so that varies. But we stay steady between 45 and 50.
And where's everybody based?
In Coppell, Texas, is most of our. It's right outside the DFW airport area. We do have some salespeople spread across the country to, kind of address the regional concerns. But most of us are in Coppell.
And since 1998, when you came in, you launched a software product, moving away from just being an IBM reseller to today. How many customers have you scaled to?
We have an install base of around 450 or so customers, companies. Some of them very large, some of them quite small. We have a 3-user deal. That's our smallest customer. And then our largest customers are tens of thousands of users. So.
Okay. So I'm doing some part of this math here because I know you're bigger than this. But if I take 400 customers times that $60 average price point you told me earlier, that comes out to about $27,000 a month in revenue. I think you're bigger than that.
That's 400 companies as customers.
Yep.
They may have 10,000 users who are, paying that monthly fee.
So, So that question I asked earlier, the average price a customer pays, you give me a per seat price, not the average that a company would pay.
That's correct. Yes.
I see.
Per user per month price. So.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So sorry, follow-up question in there. Of the 450 total logos, how, under that, you have 100,000 seats on those folks, or how many seats would you say?
Sure. You can use that as a general guideline. It's probably a little less than that, but
okay.
Yeah.
So maybe call between 80 and 100,000, something like that.
Sure. Yep. Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty significant. So these are enterprise deals, and 450, and you got 80,000 seats. I mean, the math there means you're selling multi-thousand person seats or plans.
Yeah. Yep. Usually.
And that's that's where the regional sales teams come in.
That's correct.
Interesting. How do you break up those kind of the incentive structures for those regional sales directors? Is it like a typical inside salesperson, base plus commission based off ARR closed?
Base plus commission. That's correct. Yes.
But I'm curious what you tie the quota to. Do you tie it to new ARR closed in a specific quarter, or is there an annual quota? How do you look at that?
For us, it's an annual quota.
Okay. And why'd you decide to structure the inside sales team that way?
Longevity.
What's that mean?
Well, you incent as salesperson incentive plans are based upon hitting goals by the end of the year, right? And then hitting accelerators. So if you have a plan based upon accelerators, you're going to do it annually so they can hit those accelerators at the end of the year and not get, for example, 10%, but 15% commission. So.
Yep. Okay, good. Makes sense there. And walk me, churn is critical in the CRM space. So what's your churn today and how do you manage that?
Actually, we have very good churn rate. Our customers are very loyal. We have very little turnover. Our challenge is getting those customers to move off of our competitors, right? So when they come to us, our business model is that we provide the services as part of that subscription. So you sign up with us and you have a report that you want, or you have a change in some of the business processes that you have. We do that as part of the subscription. So we don't charge extra for services. We don't outsource it to another partner. So usually we develop really, really good relationships with our customers over time. So therefore, there's not much churn.
So what is it though? How low is it? 10% a year, 20% a year?
It's less than 10%.
Less than 10% a year. And that's logo churn or revenue churn?
Logo
churn per year. That's okay. That's obviously really healthy. How are you growing? How are you adding new customers? What channels are you using?
Well, actually, right now, what we're transitioning over to is now a more user-friendly model. So our model has been that you contact us, we do a demo, we tweak the demo, we do a prototype demo, if you will. It's very involved in our services implementation folks, do pre-sales and so forth. Right now, what we're doing is transitioning our user interface over to a more user-friendly model to where you can do that demo yourself. You still need our services to do some of the implementation because very specific business models require that complex business model sort of process flow. But we're transitioning over to where those small deals, like I mentioned earlier, those free user deals and so forth, they don't necessarily require our intervention or our help. So more of a self-service model to capture some of that revenue that we're basically discarding at this time because they don't need our complexity.
So what do you? I mean, when you look at what your CAC is, so take all your salespeople, any direct paid spend you're doing, any conferences you're sponsoring. What are you paying to acquire a new customer? Typically, $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000.
No,
or is it not something you measure?
It's typically not something to measure, but I can estimate it for you. It's over $1,000 per customer right now.
Okay.
Just because of the size of the customer we have. I'm not talking about dollars to revenue. I'm just talking about to acquire a new logo, if you will.
Yep.
So it's way over that. However, that number should come down based upon our new model.
Yep. And with 450 customers, I mean, your new plan on average, are you selling like a 10-person plan, a 100-person plan? What are they signing up for on average, would you say?
Oh, that average is way up there now. But what we want to do under the new plan is bring that average down and capture more customers, get more logos, if you will, to use your vernacular, and then bring those possibility of those new customers down to a different model. So,
you're talking more logos, smaller teams.
That's correct.
Yeah. The $1,000 spend though, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that to sign a 10-person plan or a 10-person logo or a 10-seat logo?
Right now it's 100, right?
It's 100.
100 to 150 users, right? So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that. So, and you said earlier your per seat price is about $60, right?
That's per user, yes.
Yeah, I mean, so that's pretty good. If you're spending $1,000 to acquire one company with 100 seats, that's $6,000 a month in revenue. Your payback period is essentially instant. Am I understanding that correctly?
No, we did the math wrong. So each the customer, and I said it's over. You said is it $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000? It's certainly over $1,000. So per new customer, and that's a per prospect probably is more accurate. So you get 10% of that. So that number is probably more in the 10,000 range, right? To acquire a prospect, which you got it probably a 10% closure rate or so, probably is more along the lines of the 1,000. So.
Okay, so you'll spend. I want to make sure I get this right. So you'll spend about maybe $10,000 to acquire a new $6,000 a month team. Is that right?
Sure. On average, yes.
On average, and you're moving down. Yeah, you want to scale.
Right. That's correct.
That's great. And can you give me a general sense of where? I mean, I assume you guys obviously are cash flow positive, and so with 50 employees, I imagine you got to be doing north of $3 million a year at this point. Can you give me a general sense of what your scale is today?
Well, it's more than that.
Yeah.
But from our standpoint, how we're going to grow, and I guess that's where the question is going, is from that volume of customers who don't need our interaction. So therefore, that number of 50 doesn't grow, but that volume does grow based upon they don't need our interaction. So right now we have a more of a services model, which requires more headcount per customer than the non-services model. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we make our software more user friendly, user can do it themselves, then therefore our customer
less touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally get it. It's higher margin to have no touch sales. Totally get it. What I'm trying to get at though is your revenue growth year over year. So you take your revenue today and then look at what it was a year ago. How much have you grown?
Based upon a year ago, about 60%.
Okay, that's really healthy for a bootstrapped company. Yep. Has most of that come from expanding the number of seats on logos you already had, or from adding new logos altogether?
Yep, expanding the seats on logos we already had.
Okay, and then today you said you're north of $3 million. I mean, are you guys past $5 million at this point in terms of ARR? I won't push harder than that, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, we're past $5 million.
What's your next big revenue goal?
Well, our next big revenue goal would be 10 times that.
Okay, so north of 5. Next big revenue goal is 50. There's a big enough range to keep it vague, but at least you get a sense of where Mickey's thinking. Thanks for that, Mickey. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
It's an old school one. It's the 7 Habits. You just kind of fall back on that and you reiterate some of the tools in there. So.
Yep. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now? There doesn't have to be. Yeah. All right. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool?
A favorite online tool, WebEx.
WebEx. And number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
About 6.
Pretty good. And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
I'm very happily married.
Any kids?
Yeah, 3.
3. Wow. Are they working in the company yet?
They do during the summer. 2 of them do. One of them is still kind of young.
That's pretty good. All right. And how old are you, Mickey?
I'm 54.
54. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
20-year-old self should have known to buy Oracle and Apple.
Guys, there you have it. Coming from Mickey, jumped into the CRM space back in 1998, pivoting away from being just an IBM reseller. Today, they've got over $5 million in ARR, serving over 80,000 seats across 450 paid logos, totally bootstrapped. He bought out his other founders over the past 15, 20 years. healthy growth, 60% year-over-year growth since last year in September of 2017. Spending about, call it $10,000 to acquire a new $6,000 a month customer. Team of about 45 to 50 people based down there in Texas. Mickey, thank you for taking us to the top.
I appreciate it. Thank you.